Now, most people don't know this, but even if your car is paid off, it's still debt. So today I'm gonna give you the top 5 debts that millennials hold and the percentages that hold them. And later on in this video, I'm gonna explain why your car is debt, even if it's paid off. So the other day, my friends came out to a barbecue I hosted for my going away, and they asked me whether I was going to this dance event because dancing is a big hobby of mine. I told them no because I had this expensive MRI that I have to do to check on my PSA levels, which stands for prostate specific antigen. And if you want to know what that is all about, you can check out the video right here. Now, luckily for me, this test, this MRI to check for potential prostate cancer is something that I can afford right now. And I'm praying that nothing bad comes out of the results of the MRI. But you know, it's unforeseen expenses like these, medical expenses or other expenses, that adds up to 200 to 400 billion of other expenses debt that I'm going to categorize for millennials. And about 40 to 50% of millennials actually have this sort of debt. So one of the games that I like to play when I purchase anything is maximizing points. And guys, it's the worst kind of game. Here's why. My Gemini credit card earns me 10% on the dollar for gas purchase. So every $100 I spend on gas, I get 10% of crypto back. You think that 10% is a great return, but people don't realize that late payments on credit card are taxed with 20 to 24% interest. So modern education systems educate you to stay in debt. And what's worse is that people don't know how money works. They don't know how interest works. They don't read the fine print, and they have like 20 credit cards. It's no surprise that credit card debt is the 4th biggest debt in America, standing at $1.2 trillion. And about 65 to 75% of millennials hold credit card debt. So at my going away barbecue, I was telling my friends that I was gonna get rid of my car when I moved to Dallas, Texas. And they all gasped. They were like, "But Donald, Dallas is such a car-dependent state. How are you going to get around?" That is what they said, and that is the debt. So right now, what I have is a paid-off car that's near the end of its life because the chassis is rotting. But it is also because I have a car that is taking away my most precious asset, which is time. Because right now, I have a hard time saying no to people. When people invite me out, I have a hard time saying no. When people invite me out, I usually spend money. When people invite me out, it takes away time for me to spend on things that would actually help me make money. Let's say side hustles. So even with a paid off car, you still have to pay insurance. So it's basically a subscription because when you don't drive it and you leave it in the parkway, it's just sitting there losing money on insurance. But even if you do drive it, well, now you have to pay for insurance, you have to pay for gas, and then there's the cost of mileage. So no matter what, having a car is one of the biggest types of debt. In fact, it's the 3rd biggest type of debt, sitting at $1.42 trillion, held by 35 to 45% of millennials. And you know what? Even though it's one of the biggest types of debt, it's also one of the biggest images of success, because what do we as millennials need? We need to keep up with the Kardashians and show off. So as you guys may know, if you've been following this channel, I am from a family of immigrants, and being the first one to go to university gave me a huge sense of pride. And at the time, it felt like such a good idea, you know, go to university, do 4 years there, and then come out, make a ton of money. Now, I didn't know exactly how I was gonna make a ton of money, but I also was looking at investment banking. I knew that made a lot of money. So I went into university aiming to be an investment banker. Well, when you go to university, you meet new people, absorb new worldviews, things change, things happen. And I ended up becoming a software engineer out of college, you know, completely unintended, but that is where life took me. And I would say that it was a completely haphazard path. It could have ended up either way. Now, later in life, I realized that college was such a scam. It stole 4 years of my life away and took away 40K as student tuition. Now remember, the business of college that a lot of teens don't know is that you buy course credits and then you hope to God you made the right career choice or picked the right major, and then you hope to God that you're gonna make a bunch of money at the end. Now the job of the university is great because they don't have to guarantee you a job when you finish university, but they do have that guarantee for themselves that they're gonna take your money either way in the form of tuition money. Now for me, I was lucky. I hustled, I went to job fairs, I did internships, I networked, I forced myself to send 60+ resumes to employers, and luckily I got hired in the US and I got paid handsomely, but that doesn't work out for everybody. I would say that the majority, they do the exact same thing that I did and get nothing. You know, and it is this exact kind of brainwashing that leads us to the second biggest debt for millennials, student loans, which comes in at $1.5 trillion, held by 45 to 55%, almost fell there, of millennials. And the number one debt held by 30 to 40% of millennials are mortgage debt, which I'm not going to count as bad debt because houses are appreciating assets behind all the cost of maintenance that you have to uphold. So regardless of what my friends say, I am standing my ground. After getting rid of my car, I am not going to get another one. I am not going to keep up with any Kardashians whatsoever. And if you made it to this part of the video, comment, I'm gonna get some barbecue for you, Donald, because what I'm gonna do with that car debt that I would get rid of is I'm gonna roll that over to the barbecue debt category.